Hey everybody, Tim here with today's review of James Bond movie number 5, Thunderball. I did not like this movie. It was way too slow for me. Which I think is kind of funny because if you look at the Eon Productions, this is the 4th movie. I liked Dr. No, which was the first one, and I loved Goldfinger, which was the 3rd one. I didn't really like From Russia with Love, which is the 2nd one, and I don't like Thunderball, which is the 4th one. So maybe it's like an even and odds one. I'll have to see if the next movie is great or not, but we'll see. Overall, some scenes were kind of okay. The whole opening scene was just kind of hokey. I don't know, because the thing to remember about James Bond is looking at it from 2019, I mean, this movie came out in 1965, that some of it's very cliche, because I mean, I grew up with Austin Powers, and we see a lot of the cliche spy spoof movies, but the opening one of this is some of the MI6 agents have been killed, and the Spectre agent that killed them has also been killed. And so Bond is at his funeral, and he's watching his widow. And, his widow goes into the bedroom, and then he just decks the widow in the face, and it turns out that the guy is pretending to be his own wife. And it's just the cliche, he rips the mask off, and it's just this guy. And so there's that, and then when he's, running away from him, he puts on a jetpack and, flies away from the building. It was just super cheesy. I just did not like it at all. We do get to see a lot more of Spectre. We go back to Blofeld, who is sitting there with the white cat, and he has this metal curtain that's down just far enough to block his face out of view, which again is kind of cheesy, but that part I can get around. We meet number 2, who is I just forgot it. Amelia Largo. So we meet number 2, who has the eye patch. Again, I grew up with Austin Powers, so I was oh, that's where that came from. Number 6 was the one who died that James Bond takes out. We see, let's see, number 7, number 10, 5, 11. We see a lot of Spectre numbered people. So that's kind of cool. There's my dog, Low Belly. Hello, Belly. The thing I really hated about this movie, and I'm not really even sure how to talk about it, is we know that Bond is kind of a womanizer. He sleeps around. He's a man whore. It is what he is. This is the 4th movie, and he's probably slept with 10 dozen women at this point in the series. This one made me uncomfortable because it's actually, it's almost rapey, the way he just goes after his chiropractor, where he he's kind of flirting, and it's okay, come on, stop it, where he puts his arms around her, but then he forces a kiss on her, and I was oh, that's okay. I mean, it's 1965, but I mean, still, it's not really an excuse. But then when it gets to the point where he's on the rack and it's supposed to kind of stretch out his back, but somebody turns it on to high and he's about to die, and then the chiropractor saves him and he forces her to have sex with him so he doesn't tell her boss that he almost died under her watch. It was super uncomfortable, and I remember the first time I ever watched this movie, it was almost enough to make me stop watching, because I was no, this is not okay. Where he basically pushes her into the steam bath, and then you can see her pressed against the glass. I really didn't like it. It really made me uncomfortable, and I really hated it. For the most part, a lot of this is just the really long underwater scenes, which I read somewhere, I think it's a quarter of the movie is underwater. And so the main plot of this movie is that 2 atomic bombs are stolen, which is actually where the title Thunderball comes from. The Thunderball is the giant mushroom cloud that comes up after an atomic bomb is detonated. Didn't know that, had to look it up. And so James Bond is called in, and this is the first time we actually see more 00 agents, because Bond is 007, and we actually see 9 of them spread in a semicircle around the room. And so they're holding these 2 atomic bombs for £1 million, and if they don't get it, they'll blow up a city. I think it's Miami or something. But overall, it's an okay movie. It's just really slow, and it's really drawn out. The one scene I did like is when we see Largo and Bond finally meet at the card game, and he's oh, you've got a Spectre with you, and Largo's what do you mean? And he's the Spectre of defeat, and he's just making all these puns about where he keeps trying to go out of his way to say the word Spectre. He's my Spectre's better than your Spectre, to let Largo know that he knows who he works for. We see Felix again, played by yet another different actor. Llewellyn makes another appearance as Q, but this time it wasn't as big of a scene as I want. I realize Q never has really large scenes in the movies, but this one seemed extra small, where he just gives him like the Geiger counter camera. But yeah, throughout the most of the movie, it's just Bond trying to like get these atomic bombs back, and I don't know, I thought it was really slow and it was just really boring. This one just didn't sit well with me as well as the others. Probably from that beginning scene, like it just kind of jaded me all the way through the rest of it. I do think it's interesting that this movie does get remade later on as Sean Connery's final movie, Never Say Never Again, which I've seen that movie before, but I don't remember it being a remake of Thunderball. So when I get to that point, I'm really curious to see if maybe that movie was better than this one. So I don't know, we'll have to see. So let me know what you guys think about this one. Let me know if you think it just didn't age well, if you guys really liked it and I just missed a vital part in it. Go ahead, let me know in the comments below. The next movie, so I think it's really interesting that, let's see, 65, 4, 3, 2, so 63. So from Dr. No to From Russia with Love to Goldfinger to this movie, Thunderball, there's been a James Bond movie every year. So 63, 62, 63, 64, and now 65. The next movie didn't come out until 1967, so it was a 2-year gap, but there's actually like 3 movies that came out that year. We have the official Eon production movie, You Only Live Twice, with Sean Connery. We have the spoof parody movie Casino Royale, and then technically we have another parody, the Operation Little Brother, which was a James Bond-like movie that had Lois Maxwell, who plays Miss Moneypenny, and it was made with Sean Connery's younger brother. So, like, I'm definitely going to do, obviously I'm going to do You Only Live Twice. I'll probably do Casino Royale as well, and then I might, depending on how, like, glutton for punishment I feel, I might actually do Operation Little Brother. I had to look it up. Evidently it's on Amazon Prime, which I happen to have, so that's kind of cool. So, I don't know, out of those 3 movies, which 3, all 3 of them came out in 1967. So out of the 3, which ones do you guys want to see the most, or what order should I do them in? Go ahead, let me know. Thank you guys for everything, and I will see you guys next time.